Johannesburg and the world. Nice. That's good is nice. Great tunes, huh? It feels like a Friday to me with this music. I don't know what it is. Some days don't feel like it's supposed to be, but yeah, that was a great tune. Before that, we had Darling Guwe from Wanitwa Moss, and before that, we had Lofi met Witskoene. Meneer, het jy witskoene aan?
Actually not, but ek het 'n lekker wit t-shirt aan.
Jy het 'n wit T-hemp aan, maar jy het nie witskoene aan nie.
Ek het 'n t-shirt wat vat.
Nee, jou Afrikaans is sleg. Nee. Jy het 'n wit T-hempie aan. Dis wat jy aan het, maar jy het nie witskoene aan nie.
Nee, glad nie.
Hey, this guy. You can hear the Joe Burger. The Joe Burger can't speak Afrikaans anymore. Okay, Hilton Tennyson, as you know, every week in our what do we call this?
The good do business, you know.
Do good business.
Do like stuff.
Do
Yeah,
good
it's just
business
good.
segment. Yeah,
It's
this
good.
is what it is. This is what we do.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you, sir. Nice to see you again. It's been a very interesting week.
Yes.
It has been a week. Let me very quickly get into just your overall thoughts of the week before we get into employment numbers.
I think we kind of, have gone past. South Africans, we make a couple of jokes when stuff happens.
Yes.
Right? And so the stuff that happened was
We're
the whole
a
Trump.
nation of jokesters.
The whole Trump, all that kind of stuff, the Boer stuff. We made jokes. We've gone past that.
Yeah.
This week we saw fish decide get out of the river here in Joburg and then swim in the streets.
It was so
'Cause
bad.
it was so much rain, man.
So much rain. So much rain.
But we're on to something new,
Yes.
Joe, like South Africa, we don't hang around. We always look for new content.
we move on very, very
We
quickly.
move on. And so this week, it was rain everywhere, the devastation. It's just, hey, did you see what's happened in Detroit? They had lots of rain, loads of water that they couldn't get rid of. It's like window height high.
Yeah.
And then next morning it snowed. And so then it was just ice age.
Oh, that is terrible.
So
That is terrible.
Cape Town is kind of celebrating their 32 degrees, beautiful weather stuff.
It's just us.
The rest of the country, we are flooding.
I think it's the only, Joburg at the moment is the only place where you leave in a t-shirt and wish you brought your jackets with. It's like so many seasons.
It's like we're getting like Cape Town these
Yeah,
days.
it's very,
man. I
very
made
bad.
soup yesterday, the day before rather.
You made soup.
I went to the black store, doubly thing, and they said no, they have no soup mix. So I
Oh,
had
you want to talk about Woolworths?
No,
It's good you
no.
mention Woolworths. Let's mention Woolworths. Okay, listen. We're running fast out of time.
Yeah.
Employment numbers this week, you're thinking?
Stats SA really good with their numbers, consistent, etc. We always question kind of how we communicate the job numbers, opportunity, the employment numbers, and so there's the real unemployment and what Stats SA, and that's a political thing, right?
Yeah.
What we are is that we have created 120,000 jobs, right? Compared to the previous quarter, the same period, etc. So it looked like we came down a couple of percentage. 1% is a lot. But the reality is that we have a massive inability to really check numbers. Of course, people register.
Yeah.
They staff with the Department of Labor, with SARS, and so we can see those numbers. The question is always, is it 3 months or 6 months employment? Is it 12 months?
Very important
What are we
question.
counting?
Very important.
It's more about retention and sustainability of those jobs. And for certain parts of
As
society,
opposed to just the body.
for certain parts of society, financially, those people don't have to worry about it. There's a massive, 20 odd million people that don't really know whether they still have a job in 4 months' time, whether their stipend will run out or renewed, will they get a job? And so do we count those jobs? I don't know.
I've heard many conversations about the quality of the data. And depending on which quarter you're in, some people really question whether those are permanent jobs, whether that's just bums on seats. But and I think at some point we really need to start delving into that in a real way. And we need to develop a unit standard for what we all agree qualifies as a job.
Yeah, look, we have a number of interns, and we call them apprentices, unemployed graduates that gets that gets a monthly income for 2 years from the Human Science Research Council. We get them to start businesses while they learn about our business and help support our partners that help businesses, and then they end up helping those businesses while they build their own business.
Which is clever.
And they use some of their money to invest into their business. Like Lufefe, for example, he's from the rural Eastern Cape. He's got a piece of land. He grows potatoes, and he got tons and tons of potatoes that he's able to sell. But he's, that kind of self-subsistence, micro agriculture business, he's thought about it broadly because he's been exposed to customers like, SETFA, which is the government agency, all the incubators, Sasol, APSA, all our partners, Walter Sisulu University, all these guys that we work with, and they're able to get it. So now, for 2 years, he had income, but that's his intern, and we would count him as a job, right? While he's building his business, the reality is in a couple of months' time, I'm getting a new cohort to come in, and then he's unemployed, self-employed.
Yeah.
So that entire ecosystem of self-employment, do we count them as jobs?
Very difficult
Because those people
question.
do the drawings, right?
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily pay themselves in the way they would pay an employee. So, maybe our unemployment isn't that bad. I don't know.
Yeah, but
There's a good side.
No, but the point is that we don't have the actual accurate data.
Yeah.
And it's all guesstimates. It's all we working off bodies of content that are not aligned to each other. We all don't even agree what is the definition of a job. That's the problem.
Yes, and I think
And not we, you as the experts.
So, and I think that ties in with the president's call for a national dialogue, right? So that we all could be part of this conversation and bring those difference of opinions together, number one. Number two, in his sauna, he spoke about digitalization of the South African, macroeconomics, microeconomics, etc., that we as different ecosystems and, specialists and all kinds of consultants, etc., and research, that when we reference data about our country, that we have a good source,
Yeah.
And so we do need data sovereignty. Like people went out and said, "Oh no, thank you, Trump," and then there was only people over the age of 40 there. And there was only like 1,000 people or so, but that became huge, and they didn't represent great South Africans that wants to stay here and build the country. So, yeah, we've got to sort this thing out.
I think so. Let's talk quickly about loads of youth entrepreneurship opportunities.
It's just inspiring to see that there's so many organizations out there that strongly believe in our future. And those future are up and coming people that wants to start businesses. They get onto this crazy horse called owning a business and building a business in a market.
It is a crazy horse.
Yeah, I mean, I shared that there's only like 1.8 million people that has cash, in the country, and then there's about 5 million people that has credit card and stuff that they can spend, and credit. And so if you want to build a business for all South Africans, 28 million of them is on 350 Rand, 1,000 Rand grant. So it's a very narrow market to build something.
That is crazy.
That is scalable. But the reality is that we do need 1 million business owners in the country, and they need to create 90% of jobs by 2030. So we need to create the environment. And it's really cool that we have guys like Startup Culture, Alan Gray, and others.
Alan Gray, is this the Orbis Foundation, right?
Yes, so there's they've got multiple organizations, but I follow the Artisan project there, and they do some really good stuff with the TVET sector. That our opportunities is in the TVET sector, because a plumber could earn the same. In fact, I had a electrician yesterday at my home.
They make more than
the
ministers.
call out was 850.
Yeah.
And then, he spent an hour. That was additional. So I was like, but you came, you checked, you now fix. Yeah, but
He's able
like
to
you came part
articulate
is still $850.
So the call out fee is different to the assessment fee.
No, is the work fee. So
Okay.
he come, he checks, he charges for that, and then you tell him to fix it, he charges you for that,
That too. Okay, yeah.
And doctors do that, and they charge $650 or $750. And then you go. The plumber earns a lot more money, and
Yeah,
so
of
does
course.
the electrician. So there's real opportunity there. Mobility. I've had conversations with people with mobility, and I met this really cool guy, Lenny, and his team, and they're building. In fact, they converted cars to gas. Imagine you don't have to run with petrol.
And the person who's at the forefront of that, we've seen many countries. For example, India is at the forefront of it.
Brazil.
But also Brazil too. But
Yeah.
also the Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association of South Africa is really an amazing organization.
You have a long journey with
I
those
have a
people.
long journey
But
with them.
imagine,
So when you talk about gas conversion
Yeah.
in vehicles, it's not as public as it should be in the country at the
No,
moment.
there's a fear.
But they are experimenting at the moment.
yeah, I mean, like I remember when.
I even went to the conference last year.
Yeah, I remember when I said to my wife, let's put in the gas stove. She said, no, that thing is going to blow up the house.
That's a lie. Absolute lie. Absolute lie. One of the safest appliances you can use is a gas-related appliance.
So mobility.
Obviously, sorry, I just want to add
Yeah.
this. Unfortunately, gas can't deal with stupidity. So if you don't open up the windows, if you put your
Sam,
clothes
how
on
could
the
you
burner,
use that word?
no, I mean, look,
We're doing good business, good conversation.
now we're having
Don't-
good conversations, but don't be stupid at the same time.
So in the mobility sector in Europe, mobility means that let's get less cars on the road and let's get people to share, transport and have better public transport and use bicycles and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So mobility in South Africa is a great opportunity for those 4.5 million youth, right? That's unemployed, but they don't have a license. They don't have a driver's license, and we have so many things going
Yeah,
around. The
that's
other
true.
day I sent a package with Uber, and it cost me 70 rand from Four Ways to Sandton, and like the guy earned, and he does that 10 times a day. He earns $500. We have huge unemployment. So mobility in South Africa
I
is a
love that,
huge
actually.
opportunity. Joburg now has around 500 electronic vehicle motorbikes. Huge opportunity to get our kids to have motorbike licenses, right?
I love that.
It can't be like a thing just for Harley drivers, right? So we have
I
to look
agree
at
with you.
mobility and that opportunity. But
I love that.
You know-
Let's quickly,
Yes.
as we run the clock out.
yeah,
Budget VAT is a good thing.
it is a very good thing. For me, what I took away from this is that
That's cancellation.
A is that we have to consult. We have to be transparent. We have to think about the people, right? And the organizations around us, around whatever we want to do. So CSR budgets, enterprise supplier development budgets, those things we only hear when they are published. The lesson out of that is that it takes an entire community. I am because of you. And so when you're planning for the impact or the change in a rural community, in a township, in a old age home or an orphanage house or school or whatever the case may be, bring those people into the conversation, because we have to stop that we use all these vanity metrics, these vanity plans that serves a particular person or people, etc.,
Or purpose.
and it doesn't do the impact. An example of that would be the Anglo-American was very transparent about the impact of spending 20 years of billions in the mining communities, and the results were not that great. And I think we have to take our hat off for organizations like that.
That's honest.
And we need to do more and more of that. So maybe the minister should have just spoken to Anglo about this VAT thing. The reality is on that, Sam, is that, for small businesses, it's extra admin,
Yeah.
right? If this guy says on the 16th, whenever the
next one is on the 12th of
the
March.
minister comes out,
Yeah.
and that effect then happens on the 1st of March, we know that small businesses, 67% of them, there's about 600,000 of them in the country, they are not great with admin.
No, you're right.
So this will be
Small businesses are
absolutely
terrible
nightmare.
with that.
They will lose. They will have to change prices. And when they talk to their customers and the business, the guy will just say, "You said 10 rand. You and the minister, I have no issues with. I'm paying 10 rand." So it's going to have a massive impact. And maybe
we've got to think about it.
And then, of course, when we finish with the conversation, you need to switch the button off.
Yeah.
You can't ask, when is this guy's contract ending? And you're upsetting everyone.
No, it's true. But
I like that kind of transparency. Is that, you know, I am asking, and the whole country can now hear, I'm asking this SARS commissioner that's so efficient, that's so amazing.
Keith Sweater.
Can we terminate his contract?
Anyway, listen, we are running out of time very, very quickly. That's Hilton Tienison joining us every week, sharing his insights when it comes to doing good business and how we do good business and reflecting, having insights. Always lovely to see you.
Thank you for coming so much
and for sharing your insights. Very quickly, 20 seconds. What's the big tip this week that we need to think about doing good business?
I think it's, bring everyone to the table.
As simple as that. Bring everybody to the table.
Happiness